Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. Welcome back to another episode of the CFTV preview show, the Chelsea Fan TV preview show with myself and Kev. Good to have you on, Kev. How you doing, mate?
All good, all good. Feeling a lot better going into the City game after two decent results. A better performance against Villa, but still, nevertheless, a decent second half run out for the lads against Palace. All we could do really is get the points, and that's what we've done. So, not expecting anything going to the Etihad. Let's be right. Let's be
You
real
don't
about
expect
it.
anything?
Not expecting anything, but what I can say is, can we go there and give him a game? Can we go there and play? Can we not go there and sit back and be scared? Let's go. It's proven that we can play against them. We scored four in the last game. So more of the same. If we lose, put our hands up, but it's about the way we lose. Can we go and just try and do the right things first and foremost?
Yeah, no, that is true, mate. You just need to go out there and give it a good go. And
Yeah,
ultimately, we're going to be judging Poch on where he plays players, if he's playing players in the right positions. Um, But we'll see. I think that Poch has been pretty good against Guardiola over the past few years, especially if you're looking at his later years at Tottenham as well. I think they always gave City a good game. But this isn't Tottenham, this is Chelsea, and
yeah,
ultimately we're gonna be judging things a little bit differently. But what I
yeah,
would say in terms of judging anything is I want to give a little shout out to our sponsor for this video. And if you guys haven't heard of Match Bingo, this is a really, really cool concept. So if anyone ever likes to stick a little bet on during a game or anything like that, this is not like typical bingo. Obviously, I know it says match bingo, but instead of using a bingo caller, what they use is in-game events like offsides, goals, substitutions, and minutes of extra time to mark your cards. Now, one of the big issues in terms of betting is people don't know when to stop. Like I've been there once or twice where you go on to stick a tenner and you end up spending £100 because you get carried away. The great thing about this app is they cap it at £2, and you can buy up to 5 cards a game if you want to, but ultimately you're not allowed to actually go above that threshold. So if you are someone who sticks on a bet and you're a little bit scared that maybe you'll keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, this is a great app because you are slightly restricted, but you can still win big. I mean, to give you an idea, Kev, this week there's a prize put of over £1,000 for the Man City versus Chelsea game, and 35% of the net revenue that these guys make with Match Bingo is going to the Stroke Association. So very, very charitable cause. And ultimately, just good people. I've spoken to people from Match Bingo, and I really like what they're doing. So, guys, click the link below, download the app. I highly, highly recommend it. But you have to be over 18 to do this. Terms and conditions apply. Please play responsibly. Um, Now, Kev, let's just talk about one player that I think is going to make a massive difference in this game. And it's going to be really interesting to see where Pochettino plays this player. Cole Palmer, the former Man City man. He's played in a few different positions at Chelsea. He's played on the wing. He's played as a 10. He's played as a false 9 more recently. Where does he play? And ultimately, what's going to be the best position for him in this match?
To be fair, I think he's a right winger. I think that's where he's best played, best suited. I think he likes to cut inside and come off that right side. Um, Number 10, also, I think he gets joy in that position. But he doesn't seem to be moaning. He's played in the 9 for the last couple of games. Has he done as well as he's done in other games? I don't think he has. I don't think he's going to get on the board as much as a proper out and that number 9, but he still gives you that attacking threat. He got 2 assists in the last game, but from the right hand side. It goes to show where majority of his goals and assists have come from that right side. So I'd like to see him start on that right, to be fair, but that leaves a space because we haven't got number 9 to cover, which should
Yeah.
probably be Jackson or Nkunku. Personally, My choice, I'd start him on the right. I'd put Nkunku straight through the middle in this game. I
Or
don't
behind
like.
Jack.
No, it'd be Nkunku in number 9, Jackson on the left, Palmer on the right. I just think Palmer. I just think Palmer in this game. I think he needs to be played in his best position. I think against Palace in the first half, didn't get on the ball. There was nowhere near the Palmer that we've seen in the last games. Switch him to the right. All of a sudden, he gets himself 2 assists. So just goes to show the importance, let's say, of playing the players in the right position.
Yeah, that is true as well. And you can't drop. I mean, we speak about number 10. I mean, you can't drop Gallagher. I mean, after
No,
the 2 goals, he had an exceptional game. And
no,
you want goals from midfield. We've had goals from midfield, over the past few games with Gallagher
mm,
and Enzo scoring against Villa and Palace, both of them. Hopefully, this is the start. This is the start of Pochettino playing Enzo in a deeper role, closer to Caicedo, because I mean we were speaking about it before. We recorded a podcast earlier, and very very good points people make. Caicedo is a great player, but ultimately the guy needs support. He can't do it all on his own. He needs players to help him, and we were speaking about the fact that he was very isolated, and Romeo Lavia comes into the conversation as well, because maybe if you play Lavia in the role that Pochettino's played Caicedo, which is very isolated at times, you would be okay, because how good he is on the ball, his dribbling ability, and he's just able to get out of tight spaces. But Caicedo's a player who needs to link up the play, and ultimately, without support, you're going to see moments like when we conceded that first goal against Crystal Palace, when he's the guy they're initiating a press against, and Enzo needs to go back and help him. We're not saying don't go up the pitch, but get the midfield ticking, control the game, play the players in the right positions, and you're going to see better football. And we've said this many times. And
yeah.
when we've done that, funny enough, Kev, we've played
Things
better
start to
football.
happen. So funny, it's no coincidence that when we start playing players in our position, the game, just the last few games, okay, Liverpool and Wolves was a bit of a disaster, but you can start seeing patterns of play. You can start seeing confidence coming back into the players, just because they're getting the confidence from the manager to play in their right positions. And like you said, we can't say though, him being in a pivot by himself is a recipe for disaster, because he's your last bit of cover before the defensive line. So if he's the the pressing trigger, what if he loses the ball? Where's his protection? Where's his players next to him? Where's Enzo? Where's Gallagher? You need to support your players throughout the pitch, and that's what's been happening. But against Villa, like we mentioned a couple of times, that first half, that was Carl Said and Enzo's best game together as a team. And we're not talking about individual performances, talking about as a team, as a unit. And there was together. There was no more than 10 yards apart, and they moved up and around the pitch. Even so, even when Enzo dropped, Caicedo pushed forward, and vice versa. So the connection was there. So we need to see more of that. I think once we crack that, I think it's once you've cracked your midfield, it's a lot more. It's a lot easier on the team, let's say, because a lot of your attacks come through the midfield, and especially how we wanted to play at the start of the season. We wanted to get the ball into the midfield and play for the channels into the forward areas, and the midfielders haven't had the confidence to do it. But I think once that partnership strikes and it gets better, I think we'll start seeing more joy from the central midfield areas.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we used to thrive on our wing backs. When we had our really great period under Tuchel, which obviously a lot of Chelsea fans, everyone would miss that period. But we're a different team now. Our fullbacks still offer a lot. We still rely on Gusto when he plays well and James when he's fit. And when Chilwell's played well, I mean that always helps. But ultimately, I don't think Chilwell's been a game changer recently. So we are more reliant on the midfield to create chances, especially because we're playing with a back four instead of a back three with the
Yeah,
two wing backs. We've got an extra man up front there, and we need to try and create chances. We've got players like Gallagher who can score goals, but for me, he doesn't strike me as the creative spark. And you are looking at Palmer and you are
yeah.
looking at
I think
Nkunku to find those
yeah,
spaces. But if you don't get the ball up the pitch with Enzo, who is ultimately going to keep everything ticking, he is the current version of what we had with Fabregas. In a more aggressive team, then nothing's going to click, you know. And I completely agree with that. One thing that does frustrate me though is the fact that we sold is the fact that we got rid of Broha. I don't understand that, because it forces Poch to make decisions like playing Palmer as a false nine. If you had a striker there, at least two strikers, then you've got two options. And I know why he doesn't start in Kunku all the time. It's because he's just come back from injury. It's the same reason he hasn't been starting Chukwuemeka, right? When these guys get fit, they're going to start. I promise you. Even with the how much Pochettino loves Gallagher, Chukwuemeka is a better player, and he is the future of Chelsea. You know, Chukwuemeka is on par with Cole Palmer for me. That's how highly I rate the guy. You know, in the midfield, for what you see, you're looking at potential, you're looking at current quality. I think they match each other, to be quite honest with you. The only difference is Palmer was playing at City before and had the chance to thrive in a good team, and Chukwuemeka was playing for Aston Villa, who were playing rubbish at the time. So, you know, just different circumstances, but ultimately very good qualities from both players. I mean, Kev, let's talk about one thing. How do you see this game panning out against City? I mean, when we've spoken about them before, we know that City have a lot of threats, and even with the injuries, I mean, they've got Gvardiol out, they've got Grealish out, they've got Silva out, you know, they've got some big players out there. Kovacic, you know, that's the thing. But they still have a much better team than us with all of those injuries. You know, De Bruyne is in the squad, Haaland's there. I mean, I only need to mention those two players, and you are looking at world-class players. So where are we going to cause City problems? How are we going to do it? And is there any chance that we can stop them scoring more than us? Because even when they concede, ultimately they're capable of scoring 4, 5, 6 goals in a game.
That's the thing. The last game we played against them 4-4, and he would have thought Chelsea would have scored 4 goals against City when we haven't scored in the previous 2 seasons almost.
I know.
And we went and scored 4, and that still wasn't enough to win the game. You know, Haaland's just basically had a sitter tap in, which, you know, he's always capable of doing.
But we deserved to win that game at the Bridge, didn't we? We deserved that.
Well,
the referee decisions, the way we played, that was our game.
It was definitely a game where we could have definitely won. But like I said, there was a couple incidents in the game, a couple more accidents, which led to them scoring goals, which is typical of Chelsea. But in answer to your question a bit ago, how could we win this game? We'd have to go off what we went off in the last game, really. I think in the last game, the way we transitioned from the defensive third to the attacking into their was key to it. And we've got key players onto the ball. Palmer had a lot of the ball in that game. And I think if we could replicate a game from the game at the Bridge, we've got all the chance. But it's just down to the mentality, you know. I think in these big games, we've gone into the games, especially against Liverpool being one, which was the last time we had a big game against the top 6 team. It was too lethargic. It was too. We sat back. We didn't really have a game of football to what we didn't even have an identity to what we wanted to do. If we was pressing, if we were sitting back, or I think with this game, you know, City are going to have they're going to have the best share of possession. Let's say we all know on that board they're going to have the more passive. They're going to have position key areas. But it's about what we do when we've got the ball. So when we win that ball, how quick can we get into their half? Because you all know with the way their fullbacks are set up that they're not really on the flanks. Let's say their fullbacks are more like introverted. So left back and right back are more sat in. Like a defensive midfield kind of area. So if we can get Palmer on that right hand side, if we can get Jackson on that left hand side, and push them out, make the pitch big, I think we'll have a lot of space in the wide areas. But if we're going to make that pitch short and thin and narrow, we're playing right into their runs, because that's when they'll start getting their key man in the play. We all know if you want to make that pitch small against City, they've got players that can suit that kind of game, because, you know, Bernardo Silva's going to find space, De Bruyne is going to find space, Alvarez is going to find space. They're key players. That's what they love doing the most. Is finding spaces and finding opportunities. So if we can make that pitch wide and get the ball into, like I said, our wingers, that's where we'll get the most joy, I think.
100%. And Pochettino likes to play wide as well. He likes to have his wingers stretched. I don't really think our fullbacks come into the midfield like City's, which goes back to what we said with the midfield, right? I mean, if Caicedo doesn't have any help, and Enzo Gallagher, they don't work together. I mean, we're fine.
That's what City. That's what City will do though, because it's very smart tactics by them, overloading their midfield. And what they'll do, they'll overload the midfields. You'll press and lock on to their introverted wing backs. They'll have Roger just sitting there, and that's when they'll get Silva, Foden, and other players in and around attacking midfield areas. So that will be 3 versus 1 again. So you'll have Casado 3 versus 1. You'll have their midfielders, Rodri. You'll have a left back, centre back, right back in there, 3 there. So that's another part of the pitch where they're overloaded there. So all around the pitch don't make it 3 versus 1, 4 versus 1. So if we're not smart enough to keep it compact ourselves, like Enzo and Caicedo being one, keep it nice and compact and playing as a team, they'll just find space all around the pitch and they'll just keep putting you that position and other players drop into the position. And that's when, like you said, with Fox, so we've got to be smart about it ourselves. It's going to be a difficult game, but if we're smart about it and we come up with a style of play, we've got all the chance, because at the end of the day, we scored 4 at the Bridge, so we should be confident going into the game.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. For me, Kev, like you were chatting earlier, and you don't think that we can get anything out of this game. I mean, I predicted 2-2, and everyone thought I was crazy. But look at the history of Pochettino versus Guardiola in recent years. Look at their defensive form and the fact that we are able to score lots and lots of goals. The question is, can we stop them scoring? Because ultimately, I think we're going to score. I don't see us not scoring. We scored 3 against Palace in a game where people said we didn't create chances. We scored 3 against Villa. We're scoring lots of goals. There's lots of confidence in that sense. We just can't keep a clean sheet to save our life. But ultimately, I don't think a clean sheet's a big deal against City, because if you can go out there and score 2-3 goals, you can at that point, which I think would be very, very good for us. I mean, let's not take the piss. We're not the Chelsea that we were under Abramovich. You would want to win that game, ideally, but we'll take anything we can get to give ourselves a bit of confidence boost going into the Carabao Cup final. If we can get a draw against a very good City side who chasing the title, then this is going to give our team all the support that we need to know that we can actually challenge big teams. We can compete tactically, technically, from a physical standpoint as well, and actually fight. Because me and you went there last season, Kev, to the Etihad, and we saw a bunch of bums give up.
Rolled over. We just rolled over and said, "Yeah,
pathetic.
Give it to me." Roll over and say, "Give it to me." Basically, that was it. No fight, no passion, none of the above. And this is what we want to see at the Etihad. Like I'm going up to the game. I think it'll be the fourth season running, and we haven't done well there. But that's what you want to see. We just want to see passion, commitment, drive, like all the words to describe all Chelsea teams we've ever seen. We want to see against City, because we all know, ability-wise, they're in a different league to us. There's no doubt in that whatsoever. But if we can match the other things, okay, they've got better ability in us, they've got better players in us. But can we match their hunger? Can we match their drive? Can we match them up around the pitch? We've got all the chance. But the minute that goes out the window, like against Liverpool, for instance, where there was nothing there at all to suggest that we had a game plan, there's no drive, no passion, nothing like that. It's just going to be how many goals can City score today, kind of thing. Like, literally, they're just going to take the piss.
Yeah, man. I mean, I personally, I see us getting something out of that game. People seem to sound delusional, but I'm sorry. Look at the stats with Poch versus Pep. We know Pep has a much better record, but ultimately, Poch is capable of getting a result against his manager. I think actually the way that Pep plays and sets up his team complements the way Poch wants to play. So, the way they're setting up is going to be good for us because we struggle with a low block, Kev. We don't struggle against pressing sides. We may have dropped points against pressing sides, but we play better football against them. And you play better football, you're more likely to score, you're more likely to get points. That's just my view. So, I mean, let me know if you guys disagree with that in the comments, but I think that's just common sense. I think that's logic. Now, I don't know what you think about this, Kev. There's a lot of controversy. I don't know if that's the right word about Thiago Silva. I mean, do you think that he is right to be playing as many minutes as he had under Pochettino, or do you think, listen, mate, we really appreciate what you've been doing for Chelsea. You've been a great servant. We love you, but time's up. We've got Colwell, Badiashile, Disasi, all these players coming up. It's time for you to move out the way.
I wouldn't go as bad as say it's time. You want to make it sound as positive as possible, don't you? It's about
say what you think, Kev.
Yeah. Just sort of about respecting the player of that gratitude, which is carried along, and he's absolutely blessed us. We won the Champions League with the bloke and Club World Cup, so there's nothing but what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Appreciation for the guy. But in a sense, I think with the football that we're trying to implement the last couple of games, so we are finally seeing the Chelsea team on the halfway line. So I mean, our defence are on the halfway line, midfielders are halfway up the pitch, and our attacking players in the box. I think we're open to counter attacks. Thiago Silva's pace in behind. If you're a manager and you're playing against Chelsea and Thiago Silva's on that halfway line, what are you going to want to do every single time?
Getting behind.
Getting behind. So with Thiago Silva in the team, I think we sit back a bit, and that's the chances of that happening is because we're trying to play to his strengths. And when he does get on the ball, sometimes I think he does slow the game down a tiny little bit. I think he's got an eye for a pass, but sometimes he needs to keep it flowing. I think he'll put his foot on the ball and he'll invite a press. So I just want to talk about it in the positive sense. I think the guy's been excellent for us. There's no doubts about that. But if we want to build now for next season and get a partnership struck for next year, I think it'd be fourth or fifth choice now as it speaks, unfortunately. But it's just down to him and his age. He's coming 40 years old. What are we expecting? But for him to even still put on a blue shirt and play to the standard that he has done in the last couple of seasons is a testament to him. But in answer to your question, I think Thiago Silva's days are numbered. But all we can do is say thank you.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's true, mate. You can't not look at the results and some of the individual mistakes that we've seen.
If you have to change your style of football to complement one player, that goes to show. The team should be set up on how what's best for the team, not what's best for one player. And I think
if it was a great player, like Haaland with City, that makes sense. But I mean, Silva's past it.
Yeah, precisely.
And why would you set your team up around a centre back?
That's what I mean. Okay, and we all know now Thiago Silva it's hard for him to play in the two, in a four-man defence. He's better off in the five. So he's got protection around him. We all know that he's going to be isolated. And if you're a manager playing against Chelsea, he's on the team sheet. All you're going to say is get around Thiago Silva. When he gets the ball, he doesn't play at the back quick. Can we press him? And look, there's been a couple of times this season where he's lost the ball and we can see the goals. So, as bad as it sounds, I think it's probably time for him to play minimal minutes. But it's not because of him. I think it's just because the team plays better when he's at the team, and it's facts from what we've seen with him and Sterling at the team. The last few games we've been better.
Yeah, that's the harsh reality. But there might be a big reality for these fans, which we're going to find out, and hopefully, Pochettino actually keeps to his word. I mean, he keeps talking about the fact that you want to play players on merit if they're in form, if they deserve to play. Actually, well, I'll give him credit for the past 2 games, but before that, there's not really much you could say to defend that. If Sterling starts this game, if Silva starts this game, you're pretty much implying, in my opinion, that they're going to start in the Carabao Cup final against Liverpool, because you want players to be match ready. You want them to have a game. You've got a week to prepare. I don't see why you would rest them. Right, that's the way I look at it. There's no midweek, so I mean, do you think that this guy's going to start Sterling? Do you think he's going to start Silva? Because for me, I really don't know, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Whether I like that or not is a different conversation. But I mean, what do you think?
I just think Sterling it doesn't deserve it. Doesn't deserve it. Like your your footballing minutes, should it be based off what you've done in the past? Should it be based on your ability? It should be based on your work ethic and your mentality. And he hasn't shown us since he's joined Chelsea. He hasn't shown us anything in the light of that to suggest to us fans that he deserves it. And when you've got Madueke and Jackson and these players that are a bit more hungry than okay, Sterling might have better ability than them, but he hasn't got nowhere near as much drive and passion to want to get on that ball. And it's a team game. And when you're seeing all the rest of your lads, against Villa, I'm just going to come up with that example again. The way we regrouped and got back into shape against Villa, that's what you want to see. And then when Sterling come on, he's literally just like that, struggling back, hasn't got a care in the world. And this is why the fans are on his back now, because we're seeing it. And these are the little bits of attention to detail what can make you a winning team and a losing team, because it's an 11-man team, not a 10-man team. So all it takes is that one player not tracking back, and you can see the goals. So Sterling should have been nowhere near the team right now as we speak. I think he needs to work a lot more harder he needs to work hard now to prove to the manager, prove to his teammates and to us fans that his mentality is there. Right now, he just seems like he's there for the check. End of the week, that's it.
I mean, yeah, I fucking despise him. I think he's horrible, man. I think he's a horrible player. I don't care. People say, oh, it's a personal attack on Sterling. It's not personal, but it feels personal when I don't see him give 100% ever on the
Yeah,
pitch. It feels personal when he was so successful at City and did so well for them, but does nothing with us. It feels personal when he says he wants to be the main man, and then he's given the chance to be the main man, and he shies away from it. So, how people can say that criticism on Sterling is justified is ridiculous. And most people don't say that. I mean, it was just his PR team that came out and said he was, heartbroken and, he's giving his all for the club. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You can be giving your all for your five-a-side team locally down the road. If you're not good enough and another player comes in, your five-a-side team will kick you out.
yeah,
That's how it is. It's not brute. It's not brutal. It's the reality. How
yeah,
can we not be more like just have some standards as a
yeah.
football club? I mean, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
But
And it should be set. It should be set an example. Like go show when you're two experienced pros in Sterling and Thiago Silva. The younger lads in the team should be looking up to these players. Like, nothing, I don't think it's not an attitude problem in Thiago Silva. Let's say I think it's purely out of age. But Sterling's no excuse. He's not even 30 yet, and for him to be running around the field like he does, not acceptable.
he's a criminal.
So not acceptable. So whatever was coming his way and whatever's gone his way, it's on his own head. Because he's been given 2 seasons. It's not like he's been given a couple of months. He's been given 2 seasons to come up with the goods and show how much he wants to play for this team, and he's been nowhere near it.
Telling me, bro. Well, listen. I said 2-2, Kev. What are you saying?
I'm gonna go 3-1 City. 3-1 City. Just believe they're gonna have a bit too much for us. I think it's what's the word I'm looking for? When you go to Etihad, it's a scary place to go to because they are
Oh,
so. There's so.
it's not
What's the
scary, Kev.
word?
It's the quietest ground in the league.
Yeah, nah. It's horrible, especially when they're on attack. They come and they keep coming and they keep coming and they keep coming and they keep coming, and that goal is inevitable in the end. I think they'll. But once
That's
that
true.
first goal's in for them, I think the doors will open. So as much as I'd like to say we get a draw, I just can't see it happening. 3-1 City. would be a likely result for me.
Fair enough. Well, listen, guys, if you have been watching for the whole episode, thank you. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. If you agree or disagree with anything myself or Kev has said, let us know in the comments. It's always interesting to know what you have to say. And like I said towards the beginning of the video, if you haven't already checked out Match Bingo, check them out. Download the app in the description. Use our link if you can. It lets them know that you found them through us. And hopefully we'll see you in the next video. I'm a little bit more positive than Kev, but ultimately we hope we can get the result. All the best, guys, and speak soon.